What's up, SAT superstars? Laura Whitmore here, owner of Strategic Test Prep. I have been a test prep coach for, well, let's not get into how long I've been a test prep coach for because then you'll know how old I am. But I've been working with hundreds of students over the years, and I've helped them meet or surpass their SAT goals. I scored a 1590 on the November digital SAT this past year, and I have an exceptional team of tutors who all score over a 1500, and they're just absolutely amazing. So here's the deal. We have the June test coming up, so backed by popular demand is one of my infamous predictions videos. Because guys, every single test, one of my tutors is going in and taking it, or I'm taking it myself. So we are keeping track of the trends and the things that College Board is testing. So in this video, I am going to run you through the top 5 math questions that I think will be on the June SAT and the top 5 English questions that I think will be on the June SAT. Of course, down in the description below, I will link to the problem set so you can practice them along with me. And before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you want a high score, you probably want to hit that button right now. My videos are free. I come out with new ones every week, and I'm here to help you master this test. All right, before we get started, this video is brought to you by Preply, the digital SAT prep app that has over 1,000 unique questions available in both English and math. Now in Preply, the questions are divided by question categories, so you can do targeted practice. What's nice is if you get something wrong, there are easy to understand explanations you can access, so you can learn from your mistakes. We also have timed quizzes where you can work on your pacing. And it's a little fun because you can compete with other users for a spot on Preply's coveted leaderboard. Also, don't forget to ask our AI tutor Whizbee to quiz you on various SAT topics. Lastly, you can monitor your stats and follow a Preply study plan to ensure your success. So if you're prepping for the June SAT and you need that final push to get you over the finish line, download Preply in the App Store or Google Play now and get some of that daily targeted practice in before your test. And by the way, guys, we just updated the app for 2025 with new questions. All right, let's talk about my first prediction, which is a math prediction. I think there will be at least one opportunity to do a regression with DESMOS on the math modules. Now, this first prediction, I want to show you something a little bit different because I think a lot of students think you need a table for a regression. You don't need a table for a regression. You just need to have the equation of the graph and at least 2 points on the graph. So this is perfect. What I'm going to do is I will take these 2 points and I'm going to put them in a table. 0, 4, and 2, 12. And then on the next line, I'm going to type in, actually, no, I'll make this easier. I'm going to do an auto regression. So up in the corner, you're going to see 4 dots with a line through them right under the number 1. I'm going to hit that. And then what I will do is I will pick an exponential regression. Yeah, and then I will customize it. Nope, just kidding. I'm going to hit export as custom regression. There we go. Just trying to cut some corners. Let's go back and see what the equation looked like. So we have AX plus B. So there's a plus sign there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually change this to this B to an A because it's AX plus B. And then I'm going to get rid of this A out front. So it wasn't much faster doing an auto regression, but it does set everything up so that you have the tilde, you have the Y1s, you have the X1s. Because remember, to do a regression, you need a Y1 and an X1 to pull from that table. So as you can see, we have our parameters. A is 3 and B is 3 according to the regression. So when they ask, what is the value of A times B? We're going to go with 9. because 3 times 3 is 9. Let's talk about prediction 2. So my second prediction is an English prediction. I think that parallelism is going to be on this test. Parallelism basically means you want things to match up. So let me show you what I mean. Now, first, when you're on a grammar question, don't read that first sentence, just read the sentence with the blank. It says, since that time, kite flying blank. Okay, I need to pick a verb tense that matches this modifier. And when you see the word since, that means it's going to be a present perfect tense that you need. So you're going to need a has. So pick has remained and then move on, because present perfect basically means it was ongoing in the past and it's continuing in the present. So to give you an example, I might say, since she was a little girl, she has been good at the piano. Right? So you see a since, pick a has. All right, my third prediction, and this one is a doozy. So you'll probably want to bookmark this one and come back to it. You may even want to share this one with your friends. I think there will be a difficult trig problem on your test. And often with trig, they test the complementary angles rule. So let's start with that. I put it off to the side. Basically, if two angles add to 90 degrees. So if angle A and angle B are complementary, you take the sine of one of the angles and it's going to equal the cosine of the other angle. Let me fix that. And it could be vice versa. I could take the cosine of angle A and then it will equal the sine of angle B. So that's really important to know. Why am I already thinking this problem is testing the complementary angles rule? Because I see a sine and a cosine in the problem. So rule of thumb on the SAT, if you see both a sine and a cosine in the same problem, they're probably testing you on the complementary angles rule. Let's read the problem. It says, in the given expression, P and Q are constants. Okay, that just means they're numbers, such that sine of P equals 0.84. Ew. I already don't like that, because with trig, it's nicer to have them as ratios or fractions and then decimals, because we know sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I'm actually going to change this so it makes more sense to me, and I'm going to make it 84 over 100. Opposite over hypotenuse. I'm actually going to substitute in 90 for x. Okay, so let's see what we have now. I'm going to rewrite this. We have 1/9 sine. Now 90 minus 90 is 0, so I'll just have sine of P times cosine of Q plus, I can't believe I chose this problem. What was I thinking? Oh my gosh. If this is helpful to you and you're appreciating the difficulty level of this problem, give me a thumbs up. Please hit that like button below. We have cosine of 90 minus P times sine of 90 minus Q. Okay, great. So we already know what sine P is. It's 84 over 100. So I'm going to substitute that in. I've got 1/9 times 84 over 100. Great. Times, we know what cosine Q is. It's going to be times 75 over 100, right? And then we're going to add to that cosine of 90 minus P. Now, this is where it gets sneaky, tricky, but this is where the complementary angles rule comes in. 90 minus P is essentially going to be the same value if you take cosine of 90 minus P as sine of P, because 90 minus P plus P, oh my gosh, I hope I don't lose you guys. 90 minus P plus P, that adds to 90 degrees. So this angle and this angle P, those guys are complementary angles. 90 minus P is complementary to P. So the complementary angles rule states that there's two angles that are complementary. When we take the sine of one of the angles, it's the same as the cosine of the other angle. So cosine of 90 minus P is going to equal the same as sine P. So that's going to be 84 over 100. And then the same logic applies, but the opposite. If we do sine of 90 minus Q, that's going to be the same as cosine of Q. So I'm going to multiply by 75 over 100. All right. Then you just do the math and you solve and you get your answer, yay. I can totally see why they put it in decimal form instead. That's probably easier to just do it this way on your calculator or in Desmos, right? So that's probably what I would do. I would just pop this right into Desmos. Let's see what it looks like. And then plus 0.84 times 0.75. And you get 0.7. So that's it, guys. Pretty simple, right? I don't know. Comment below and let me know if you thought that maybe I overcomplicated this or you have a simpler way to solve it. I would love to hear. All right, my fourth prediction kind of deals with essential versus non-essential information. You may have a sneaky grammar question on Module 2 with verb tenses, and the pronoun trick that I've taught you guys before with he and they doesn't apply. So let me show you a worst case scenario and how you can handle it. I'm going to start right after the dash reading, and I just want to try to get a sense of the structure and the layout of this part of the sentence. So it says, a renewed appreciation sparked in part by science communicators such as Jordan Liu, whose work, blank the impact of Sanchez's experiments and the scientist's historical importance to the field of molecular biology, encourages a broader rethinking of genetics research itself. Okay, the things going through my head are, where is the subject? Where is the verb? What are we talking about? What is it doing? And when I was reading that, I ran into an actual verb, encourages. Sometimes it's easier to spot the verb first. I'm like, oh, here's the verb. And then the next thing I'm asking myself is, what encourages? Because whatever is doing the encouraging is the subject. So if I backtrack, they talk about Jordan Liu's work. So the work encourages a broader rethinking of genetics research itself. How do I know it's the work and not Jordan Liu? Because I'm just looking at this clause after this comma, okay? We're going on to talk more about Jordan Liu and specifically about their work. So what does that mean then? If here's the subject and the verb's all the way over there, it means all of this stuff in between really isn't necessary to the sentence. It means it's just describing more about the work. That means I need a gerund to keep that part non-essential, incomplete. I don't even know what you would call it, but to make sure it doesn't compete with the actual verb encourages. So let me read this out loud so you guys can hear how it sounds. A renewed appreciation sparked in part by science communicators such as Jordan Liu, whose work explaining the impact of Sanchez's experiments and the scientist's historical importance to the field of molecular biology encourages a broader rethinking of genetics research itself. Do you see how the ing form allows us to make that whole clause just something descriptive about the work without making it the action the work is doing? So keep that in mind. If you need more description of something, go with the ing. All right, my next prediction is you're going to have a hard geometry problem dealing with special right triangles. When I see a radical 2 in a question, I'm already thinking 45, 45, 90. And what's nice is they told me it was a right isosceles triangle. So if we draw a right isosceles triangle, let's just talk about, well, what are the ratios of the sides? It's going to be S, S. Obviously, they're the same. It's isosceles. And then S radical 2. So essentially, the perimeter of the right triangle is 52 plus 52 radical 2, according to the problem. And that should equal S plus S plus S radical 2. See how I'm setting up the equation so I can solve for S? So let me simplify. I've got 52 plus 52 radical 2 equals 2s plus s radical 2. This is the way you're going to want to approach it, because students honestly make a very common mistake on this question where they just look at it and they go, oh, s is 52. No, because that doesn't make sense. Two sides add to 52, and then the hypotenuse is also 52 rad 2. According to the ratios, that doesn't work. You actually have to do the math on this. All right, let's keep going. So what do we do at this point? Well, we could basically say, let's actually just go ahead and we're gonna factor out an S, right? So I've got 52 plus 52 radical 2 equals S times 2 plus radical 2. Well, now I've isolated the S. Sweet. Let me divide both sides by 2 plus radical 2. And then I can get my answer. That's pretty awesome. So let's see. Let's just go to Desmos. I'm going to put 52 plus 52 rad 2 over 2 plus rad 2. Okay, so as you can see, we get 44.38 da 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 da. Okay, so if this is a fill-in answer, you're going to take it out 5 places. So you're going to be able to fill in a 44.38. Make sure the 8 doesn't need to round up to a 9. It doesn't because the next digit after is a 4. So that's essentially what you're going to put in as your answer, 44.38. And by the way, I know that there's other ways to do this. So comment below if you have a different way, because I've had students solve and get it in radical form. I just find for me, it's easier to do it this way and get it in decimal form. All right, let's talk about prediction number 6. So I think there's going to be a question with dashes separating out a non-essential clause. So here's a quick strategy for you. If you are on a a grammar question and you see a dash here, lean towards the dash as the answer. And what you want to do is make sure the non-essential clause, you can take it out and the sentence still makes sense without it. So it says, with over 100,000 participants, the International Symposium on Climate Change and Sustainability, or ICC as it is commonly known. Okay, now they're just kind of going off to explain a little bit more about the Symposium on Climate Change. All of this really we can take out. We don't need it for the sentence to make sense. So it is separating out a non-essential clause, and then you go with that, the dash is your answer. My 7th prediction is you're going to have a circle equation question, and often on the circle equation questions, they want to know what is the value of x if it lies on the circle, or what is the coordinates if it's on the circle. Here's what I don't want you to do. Please do not go, oh, -1, -1, 4. Okay, guys, -1, 4 does not lie on the circle. That is the center. Do not pick this one. That's where people go wrong. If you're going too fast, it's easy to make that mistake. Pop this into Desmos. Take a look at it. Go ahead and type in the points and see which one lies on the circle. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that. So we have x plus 1 squared, y minus 4. Okay, here's my circle. Let me go ahead and type in a coordinate. So I have 2, 4, 3, 5. Look at that. The first one, 2, 4 is right on the circle. Good to go. We are done. So I'm going to pick A. All right, my 8th prediction is I think there will be a semicolon separating items in a list question. And I think there will be a little bit of parallelism involved. So first things first, if you get to a grammar question and you notice a semicolon with an and right after it, I want you to pick a semicolon in your answer. So this one has a semicolon and this one has a semicolon because they're separating items in a list. So you're going to need more than one. So get rid of C, get rid of D. Now, the next thing is with parallelism, everything has to match up. So you want to make sure that everything is worded the same way. So the first one says, well, we don't know. We have to pick that one. The next one says cognitive neuroscience, which examines brain functions and behavior, and urban studies, which explores city planning. So it sounds like they're coming up with like topic, comma, explain more. Topic, comma, explain more. So I want topic, environmental science, comma, explain more. I'm going to go with B. That is parallel. All right. My 9th prediction is I think you're going to have a tougher math module on module 2 this round. So what I've noticed about the test is it fluctuates month to month as to what section or half of the test is harder. Last month in May, the general consensus from the majority of people I heard from said that they thought the English module was harder. So I am predicting on this test, the math modules will be harder. So if you are really strong in math, that is probably a good test for you to take to have a slightly easier English section and a tougher math section. All right, lastly, my 10th prediction is that I think the scoring algorithm on this test will be fair. Some months lean a little easier with scoring, like May and November from what I've seen. Some months lean a little harder with scoring, like March and October. And I think it comes down to who you're taking the test with, how many students are taking the test. So historically, although I don't have much data to go off of on the digital SAT, the June test has been a pretty straightforward and fair test. Not on the easier end of scoring, not on the harder end of scoring. So I really think that this is a good test for you to take. All right, guys, that's it for my predictions video. Make sure to comment below and let me know what your target goal score is on this test in June. And also, please tell me what your favorite prediction was out of my 10 predictions. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, go ahead and throw a 1600 in the comments because you are a 1600 perfect score in my heart. Until next time, guys, happy prepping.